I am no man.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. You all know Riley Gaines. She's the decorated collegiate athlete who was robbed of her medals because of men in women's sports. She's gone on to become an activist for women's rights and women's protections and fighting against men in women's sports. That obviously lit a fire in her. And she's been very, very successful in doing this. She's been welcomed on stage by President Trump about a dozen times. President Trump has thanked her for her activism and has used her as a prime example as to why we need to protect women, and especially women in women's sports. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump followed through on that promise in a spectacular achievement for Riley by signing an executive order protecting women in women's sports, surrounded by young female athletes at the White House. One of the first things that he did, he campaigned on it. America said yes and elected Donald Trump in a landslide. Riley posting, I think I may post this photo once a week for the next 4 years to remind Democrats what a leader who fights for women's rights looks like. 22,000 reposts, 153,000 likes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a losing issue for the left. It's a very popular issue for the president. It makes a lot of sense. It is an issue that makes Republicans the party of women's rights. So we're totally down with it. There are some states, however, that continue to defy President Trump's orders and allow men in women's sports. And Riley is calling that out with regularity. It's happening in states like Minnesota and California. This led to a stunning development last night when a very famous Olympian, a woman named Simone Biles, decided to personally attack Riley Gaines in a very savage way and just completely out of the blue. Simone Biles took to X to post this: "You're truly sick, all of your campaigning, because you lost a race. Straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting your trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans people feel safe in sports, maybe a transgender category in all sports. But instead, you bully them. One thing is for sure, no one in sports feels safe with you around." Huh? This is insane crash out. Simone Biles does have a lot of followers. She has nearly 2 million followers here. She's a very famous gymnast. I mean, arguably the most famous gymnast. She had a heartwarming story. She's the most famous gymnast in America. She had a heartwarming story that a lot of people paid attention to. She comes from a broken home. The Simone Biles crash out continued with body shaming Riley Gaines. An interesting tactic here from Simone Biles: bully somebody your own size, which would ironically be a male. Riley Gaines, Simone Biles says, she got community noted, of course, saying that Riley Gaines is 5'5", unlikely proportions to match a guy. She's also called transphobic for body shaming and trying to tie height and weight to gender, harming trans women. See how you can't win, Simone Biles? Body shaming a remarkably fit and beautiful Riley Gaines in defense of a male abuse of women in sports is a disgusting way to go. Everybody's repulsed by this crash out. It's crazy. Riley, of course, is responding. This is actually so disappointing. It's not my job or the job of any woman to figure out how to include men in our spaces. You can uplift men stealing championships in women's sports with your platform. Men don't belong in women's sports. And I say that with my full chest. Okay, well, so she's fighting back, and the entire internet now is fighting back against Simone Biles in this weird heel turn for her. This is so disappointing. My take is the least controversial take on the planet. Simone Biles being a male apologist at the expense of young girls' dreams. Didn't have that on my bingo card. Maybe she should compete in pommel horse and rings in 2028. Of course, these are events only for men in the Olympics. And a subtle hint at body shaming. Please, I'm 5'5". So Riley Gaines having some fun with this. Sage Steele jumping in and defense of Riley Gaines, and everybody's saying like this crash out is just really depressing. Simone Biles has a uplifting story that everybody was behind, but now they're all turning on her, and rightfully so. Simone Biles, when you only had to compete against women in the Olympics, every one of your Olympics medals came from competing against women. Riley Gaines was not only forced to compete against a man, but forced to share a locker room with a man. That's sick, shocked, and disappointed that you attack another woman. Had nothing to do to uplift women. If you think that it makes sense to create a league of trans people, go for it. Use your huge platform and all of your money. This is sick. Simone Biles, you are sick. Loving that by trying to insult Riley, Simone Biles reinforces that men and women are distinct and they should have separate categories. All the horrific sexual abuse Simone Biles witnessed and spoke out against caused by a man, yet believes women should be forced to strip naked in front of men to validate their feelings. You know how many gold medals if your inclusive dream came true? 0. That's right. Like if men were allowed to compete against Simone Biles, then no woman would ever have a medal in the Olympics again. That's a matter of fact. Simone Biles did suffer disgusting abuse by Larry Nassar. And it's like very strange that that's not coming to play here, that's not part of the equation. This is an excellent question for Simone Biles. If Larry Nassar, he's the abuser, the serial abuser who's now in prison, came out as trans, would you have moved him to a women's prison? Yeesh. Riley Gaines is the same size as a man. You are retarded, right? Here's the photo, right? Wikipedia says I'm 5'9". I'm 5'5". Yeah, there you go. To make my position on both topics very clear, I hope Larry Nassar spends the rest of his life rotting away in a miserable prison. Gymnasts were failed by a system that protected an abusive man at the expense of girls' safety. Men don't belong in women's sports. Female athletes continue to be failed by a system that protects abusive men at the expense of girls' safety. That's right. Yeah, people are not taking Simone Biles' side here. Simone Biles bullied about her muscles to the point that she had to do body positivity ad campaign. And she has the nerve to say that Riley Gaines looks like a man. People are starting to bring some comparisons out here. Riley Gaines fought to keep women in women's sports. He's the most accomplished and well-known female athletes. Haven't said a word, or they've ideologically supported men in women's sports. These are all these famous female athletes. They did nothing except for, yikes. Okay. Simone Biles would weep uncontrollably and shriek about women's rights if she were ever forced to compete against a man. What a total fraud. Historic crash out. Let's go ahead and check Simone Biles versus a men's gymnast. Here's Simone Biles trying to do men's gymnast work. Here's a man doing men's gymnast work. Spot the difference? Anybody? No one? Anybody? Yeah? No? Okay. Got it. Riley lost a race. You humiliated the U.S. Olympic team. I think this is very important. You humiliated the U.S. Olympic team and quit on your country because you could not compete against other women. You two are not the same. This, by the way, happened. Remember this? She dropped out of the 2020 Olympics because it was stressful for her. She was experiencing immense amounts of stress. Yeah. Okay. Again, like massive crash out here, historic level crash out. Everybody, including activists, are siding with Riley Gaines. And I think it's most important, this post. Simone Biles, when she had to endure a predatory man, versus Simone Biles when other girls have to endure a predatory man. It's totally completely inconsistent. Simone Biles endorsed Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. She's accepted awards from Joe Biden. She's clearly become, as she's crashed out as an athlete, as she's failed as an athlete, and drops out of the Olympics. Now she's decided activism is going to be what she does. It's a very sad turn for her because she does have an uplifting story, but now she's just become another activist. You don't even know if Simone Biles is running her account, right? Like you have no idea if she's posting this or if it's some type of like Democrat PR company, because that happens all the time. So anyway, really disappointing turn. The entire internet sides with Riley here. Very, very sad. But you know what? Whatever, keep taking these 80-20 issues and losing. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe to support Riley Gaines and keep men out of women's sports.